The interesting thing is that the whole aspect of performance is driven to a large extent by the entire diversity. And these are some of the things that we found in the research. But when you talk about diversity, I think people sometimes misconstrue it to mean gender. But diversity is much broader than that. We're talking about diversity in terms of age, in terms of professional qualifications, in terms of religion, and so on and so forth.
We work in a community, and we believe that we've got to have linkages back into the community. That's the community that we serve. And for us to be effective in our service to the institution, to the community, we have to reflect the makeup of that community.
Today, investors are not only looking for returns, but they're looking at broader issues around governance, around sustainability of organizations, and the whole essence of good business, and hence diversity plays a major role here. So we are trying to promote this agenda because we believe that having a board that is diverse, of course surrounded by the issues around ethnicity and regional balancing, to just achieve a broader spread of how an organization is run.
Well, it's important to have women on boards because we have women making up approximately 50% of the population. Again, when it comes to education opportunities, we also have another 50% graduating from university, as well as entering the workforce. But we see something interesting happening when it comes to, I would say, the higher leadership levels, where the pool and the narrow pool of talent, and therefore we need to encourage more women. Women bring different attributes to the table that we would like a lot of businesses to begin to recognize, appreciate, value, and respect.
Diversity is important in a business, but more important to me is inclusion. And inclusion is getting the mix that you get from diversity and getting it to work together so that you get the very best out of every individual that you've got on board.
Now, the challenge is that in society like ours, where things have been structured so much so that to reflect that perhaps is a man who's supposed to be in a boardroom, or perhaps somebody of a certain educational background, that unfortunately has cascaded down all the way, so much so that sometimes people, especially from marginalized areas or marginalized gender, they feel like they do not belong.
Some of it has got to do with networks, the transparency of how people are chosen to get onto those boards. It's really a who you know club and who knows who. So in order to basically break some of those barriers, it means as a woman you have to be a little bit more visible, more aggressive. It might be traits that women are not necessarily comfortable with.
But we have to be very deliberate in ensuring that there are more women on boards. Countries that have made significant progress in that area have been very deliberate. A good example is Rwanda and countries like Norway. What they've done is they've been very deliberate in making sure that there are more women on boards. And we've made a significant stride as a country because we already have a constitutional requirement and we need to take advantage of that.
First of all, those companies which have not embraced diversity, they're losing out. The talents, the skills, and a different perspective of looking at things. So it's important that they find ways and means of including women and diversify.
Diversity is important because of inclusion, and it allows you to prepare better for tomorrow's challenges. The world is increasingly complex. You need diverse number of perspectives and opinions to basically cater for your products of tomorrow, your employees of tomorrow, and your clients of tomorrow.
Having a diverse board enhances board thinking. We move away from having a group think to more broader board think. We believe having a gender balance on the board is useful because having women on board tends to rebalance some of the strengths men bring on board. I think women have strong emotional intelligence when it comes to certain issues.
There needs to be also a continuous program where we are also nurturing people, developing them, mentoring them, so that even at an early age, somebody joining a corporate institution will know that, you know what, if I have the drive, if I have the aspirations, I can actually rise up to the top.
We also believe that companies need to do more to raise women from within so that we can have a strong pipeline of women in executive leadership that can come up and also serve in various boards across this country.
We work in a community, and we believe that we've got to have linkages back into the community. That's the community that we serve. And for us to be effective in our service to the community, we have to reflect the makeup of that community.
Let me also say that all is not lost, because when we did the research in 2014, we found that in terms of representation, as far as the gender parity is concerned, women representation was only about 14% or thereabouts. But in the last 1 year or so, we've seen that there's been a gradual growth from 14% to right now about 21%. So we've made the baby steps, but there's still a lot more that needs to be done.
We're glad to see even women taking roles in chairing boards, and this is quite a positive move. And so there is a positive uptake on that. I think women are becoming more outgoing, going for it.
And so it is a call to the various our training institutions, our universities, that we need to consistently ensure that there is a diversity in terms of the skills that are being produced for the market.
Diversity is really important for two things. One, because it's the right thing to do, and two, because it makes business sense.